My mother encouraged us to make our heaven here on earth. I think she could have written the books. So we were raised in freedom, growth, and joy. I remember my dad saying that, sure, there are pearly gates and golden stairs, but if they're not going to serve fried chicken, what's the incentive in going there? So what I'm wondering is, if I'm going to give up my sculpting and painting and inventing and all the excitement of everyday life, which I love already, what I need is a really persuasive commercial on why I want to go into the non-physical. Because it seems I can, like you said about death, you persuade me that should be a good episode, that should be a good adventure, but I can have La La Land bliss right here.
Well, what makes you think that part of you is not already non-physically focused? In other words, do you think it's either or?
No, I feel that focus, but
you think the non-physical part of you is not having as much fun as the physical part of you?
I'm wondering if you're having as much fun as I am. I'd like to know more about you.
Let us put it to you this way. We are the fun you're having. In other words, as Esther says often, we are the party looking for a place to happen. And when you allow yourself vibrational alignment, then you describe your life in the way that you have described it here. It's adventurous, it's sumptuous, it's sensuous, it's delicious. In other words, very often, it's fun to hear you, because often physical friends think of non-physical as the place that they have been promised will be so much better than here. And it is refreshing to hear you speak so highly of your physical experience that you're not sure that the non-physical could possibly be having as much wonderful experience as you are. And what that says to us is you are so often in vibrational alignment with who you are that you're allowing the broader part of you to experience this life experience through you. And never worry that the focus, when you withdraw your focus from this physical experience, your ability to experience your joyous life will be even more poignant than you are able to interpret it or articulate it here. So when you are in alignment with source energy and you are experiencing this leading edge place where you have the knowledge, as you have described, that well-being abounds, and you are not worried about the salvation of your soul because you understand that you are a worthy being, and you understand that you are an extension of source energy, and you have some conscious awareness of who you are and why you are here, that is the best that it gets in any environment. But we have to say to you, while you're having that best experience from your physical perspective, we are sharing that same best experience from our non-physical perspective. In other words, you're not the only one getting the best of it. We are all in this together, you see. So what we've noticed about those like you and those like us who are leading edge teachers is that there is nothing in all of the universe more exhilarating than to be physically focused with a new idea that is summoning source through, coupled with the knowledge that we can continuously bring ourselves into alignment with that which we're asking for. When you reemerge into non-physical, you will not lose for a moment the sensation of self-awareness. The difference for most will be you will leave behind all negative perspectives, and you will dawn with clarity your understanding of who you really are. In one fell swoop, those that you once have hated, you will love. And those who you have dramatically misunderstood, you will understand. And those questions that you have been seeking answers to, that you have been holding yourself apart from the answer of, you will know the answers. The sensation of realization is the most dramatic sensation that you experience. You are mind and you are consciousness, as we've been describing you here today. You are vibration. That's who you are. And in your determination to see yourself as this physical person who paints and sculpts, we want you to also try to see yourself as this person who feels the joy of painting and feels the thrill of sculpting, because the feeling behind all of those things that you want to do is the reason you do them, and the feeling behind them will never leave you. Oh. So in non-physical, we don't have to do stuff to feel stuff. So where in physical, you often feel like you have to do stuff in order to feel stuff. But it is our promise to you that you will feel as good in the not doing of stuff as you do in the doing of stuff.
Like a perpetual high.
When Esther visited with her father in the immediate weeks following his transition, it was fun for her to listen to his continuing, evolving explanation of where he was. And Esther knew from her experience with us that he was having the experience of releasing his perspective of how it was and regaining his perspective of how it is. In other words, she could feel, he said to her very clearly, Esther, I can hardly believe this. There are streets here. There are trees here. There is even furniture here. And Esther said, I suppose we are all always vibrationally interpreting our environment to whatever it is we want to see.
Oh, okay.
So non-physical is not void of what you would call this physical stuff, because this physical stuff is interpreted vibration too. So that which you are calling non-physical, that you are right now in an uncomfortable way, preferring to see a little bit like a nebulous blob of nothing, is far from that. Does it make sense to you that you could be source energy that has the ability to extend itself into this leading edge place and be able to define life in this dramatic leading edge tangible way that you live it, and then would withdraw into something less than that?
That's what I could not understand.
Of course not. Of course not. You cannot become less than you be, you see. It is an enhanced experience.
Well, I'm curious also about the family clusters you spoke of, the kind of magnetic attraction, or what you can interpret just through energy rather than physical.
The law of attraction is always sorting all of that out. Jerry and Esther were reading the Seth material, and Seth spoke of families of consciousness. And so when Esther and Jerry made this verbal connection with us, they badgered us relentlessly, wanting us to proclaim this person of their family or that person not of their family. And it wasn't until we said, they're all in your family, that they left us alone about that. And the reason that we were not too eager to talk about families of consciousness is because it becomes just another thing that physicals do to try to exclude the unwanted from their club, you see.
But I remember the tape about John Adams and how visiting Esther and Jerry and how all of a sudden they related. It felt like, ooh.
When they stood before the statue of Samuel Adams.
Oh, was it Samuel? Okay.
Tracy and Esther and Jerry all proclaimed at once, I was Samuel Adams. Oh, they were going to Boston, and we were teasing Esther because she was thinking, as so many people are thinking, that there is this linear transference of passing off the baton from physical life to physical life. And we were wanting to broaden her awareness to understand that this soul is a stream of consciousness. It's a stream of understanding. You see yourselves in these physical bodies, and you think that there must be non-physical clumps somewhere to match the physical clumps. And we want you to understand that it is a stream. It is a wireless stream of consciousness that reaches all of you. And so as they were landing in Boston, we said to Esther, you will like it here. You have had physical experience here. And then Esther announced to Jerry and Tracy, oh, I was here. And we said, all of you. And Esther said, oh, we were all here. And they said, well, who were we? And we said, when you stand before the statue that is you, you will know. Now they are very excited. Oh, we were famous. There are statues for us. It was 1:00 in the morning. They dropped their things off at the hotel and began walking all over Boston, standing in front of statues. And when they stood before the statue of Samuel Adams, all of them proclaimed with one voice at one time in unison, "I was Samuel Adams." And then they all looked at each other. No, not you, me. Not you, me. All equally sure that they had felt and heard correctly. And then we said, yes, all three. The energy that now is recognized in the three of you was at that time in that one. How can that be? How can we all be assigned the same clump of flesh? And we say, because you do not understand consciousness. You do not understand non-physical intent. Then you come into a physical body, and then you worry, what would it be like for the non-physical spirit of me if I did not have this one physical body? And we say, there are plenty of physical bodies through which you can explore and dream and imagine and create and love and live, you see.
I guess I've heard a lot of, like, trials and tribulation. I think, how come I lucked out from the beginning? I mean, I really think I chose well.
We think they all did.
Okay.
And it's those like you that are wanting to run around making comparisons between your life and everybody else's that makes everybody question about where we're just playing with you. It's wonderful that you love your life. But from non-physical perspective, sometimes physical friends will say to us, Abraham, I've been in this body and it's been great or it's not been so great. But they often will say, when I leave, I'm not coming back, so tell anyone who needs to know. And we say, we will carry your message. And then we say, fortunately, you do not make those decisions from your physical perspective, but from this broader non-physical perspective that understands the value in coming forth in the dramatic variety.
Are we sometimes kind of given a shove to come back, or is it
that implies assertion? There is not any of that. You come out of wanting. You come out of vibrational desire.
Okay.
And it's often interesting as we see you, and sometimes you've worked your way into living a wonderful life. And often you say, I'm not sure I want to start over again. And we say, we're sure you do. You say, no, you must be thinking of someone else. I'm sure that I'm really not wanting to start over again. And we say, oh, from non-physical perspective, we adore the newness. We adore the new insights. We adore the new ways of looking at things. We adore another opportunity to have another experience with the guidance system that always keeps us in alignment with who we are. And we know there are a lot of physical beings that have managed to get themselves pretty well disconnected from their awareness of their connection to source energy. But even out of all of that comes powerful contrasting desire that is part of what makes the world go round, you see.
Do we surprise you? Is there such a thing as that?
It's hard to surprise us because as you launch your rockets of desires incrementally, bit by bit, emotional experience by emotional experience, we are aware of every amendment to every desire in the incremental fashion in which it is offered. And not only do we feel it as it swells and builds and is offered singularly and then is recognized collectively, but we are aware of the way law of attraction then plays on it and the unfolding of it. And so we have advanced awareness of where things are going long before they begin to manifest. So your manifestations never surprise us because we have been riding the rockets of your dreams. That's why your manifestations do occur in the way they do. In other words, the non-physical part of you is carrying the rocket. It's all part of the continuing the creative process, you see. Physical man wants to describe an entity such as God as the one who creates the earth. And we want to say to you, yes, this earth was thought into being from non-physical perspective, and if man wants to call that consciousness God, that is all well and good. But we want to say that the consciousness of man as he specifically walks upon the earth and has his experiences are contributing to the evolution and the continuation of the earth experience far more than the thoughts that were originally set into motion which caused it to be created to begin with. In other words, you cannot separate earth from heaven, and you cannot separate God from you, and you cannot separate the physical part of you from the non-physical part of you. We are all in this together. But when you attempt separation of any kind, it is noted to you through the degrees of negative emotion that you feel, which are your indicators of resistance.